system theorized, of course, as the free market. Still considering this theme of behavior, though. As a brief aside, I'm well aware that there's a huge subculture that would complain that the world today does not operate at all with respect to true free market principles, as per the laissez-faire ideal of a completely unregulated market. Free market is defined as an economic system in which prices and wages are determined by unrestricted competition between businesses without government regulation or fear of monopolies. And in the context of this accepted definition, they are correct. This theory holds true, but let's be realistic, shall we? Saying the free market is unrestricted competition between businesses without government regulation or fear of monopolies is like saying ultimate fighting is defined as unrestricted fighting techniques except for biting, eye-poking, and groin-kicking. The truth of the matter is that there has never been and there never will be a free market by this idealized definition because it is underscored by one massive continuum fallacy, drawing lines that don't actually exist morally, which make it functionally impossible. A continuum fallacy is the acknowledgement that two states or conditions cannot be considered distinct because between them there exists a continuum of states. And as per my usage, the continuum is linked to the principle of open, free competition, and any lines drawn with respect to where competition starts and ends in free exchange is absolutely arbitrary. While it is perfectly acceptable to create a car, advertise it, price it competitively against other producers in the interest to strategically take market share from your competitors in your genre through differential advantage and the like, apparently, according to free market purists, to create a car, create a political lobby to finance the favoring of that manufacturer in the international arena by some means, enabling differential advantage through a government-sanctioned export monopoly that restricts other producers is not okay. But wait, if the free market says that we should be free to buy, sell, and compete without regulation, then why can't I buy legislation to assist my purpose of competitive advantage? And if you're one of those people that says that the problem is simply because the state exists at all, well, I have one word for you: mafia. We have had many, many centuries of so-called criminal muscle forcing their commercial will through violence and coercion. How do we resolve such a clear and present propensity? Well, I guess we could make rules or laws that deter such behavior through punishment, right? But who's going to enforce those laws? The state? And of course, you could be like Milton Friedman and declare government should be a referee, not an active player. But again, aren't we forgetting that government actually is a business? And since the very start of its inception, it has derived its membership from the pecuniary or business culture almost explicitly. Saying government is simply not to get involved when the underlying ethos and overall interaction is exactly the same as a company, as the interests of those that comprise the government come from that same genre, it's like telling a hungry dog not to eat your food when you leave the room, even though it's sitting directly in front of him. So I really hope, and I hate to drill this in, but many well-meaning activists out there, I know it's not in this culture, but those who watch this, that still believe this, they begin to get past this idea. And what I want to do further in this section is to show that even if you had a theorized pure free market with such high moral integrity of the population, meaning that they really did stop collusion, they wouldn't allow state interference, they wouldn't use the state for any purposes of such, and they forced a total market arena of pure competition in a strict game board structure, the idea that the system would actually result in ethical results, as per our most commonly, again, assumed assumptions of ethics, or any form of equilibrium, meaning eliminating inequity or full employment or fair and balanced wage spectrums, this is also provably false. And the reason for this, as I will explain, no matter how ethical or humane or eco-friendly you think you are being, the market's central behavioral reinforcers, its core game mechanisms, going back to the stock market and what it rewards, will always create a larger order climate of deprivation, the desperation of it to the effect that we can